Now, to speak more on this, I'm joined by Raj Kumar, retired MD at LIC, and V N Mathur, former member of Traffic Railway Board. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us this evening on ET Now. Let me start with you, Mr. Raj Kumar, since we're talking about the compensation process, and LIC has made it clear that it will ease and relax some of those norms required for compensation or for claims by the families of the deceased. How much will this help, and what is the normal process? What is the relaxation of the norms?
Thank you, Tamanna. First of all, I express my heartfelt condolences to the families who lost their loved ones and sympathies to those who were injured. LIC has relaxed certain conditions, mainly the production of a death certificate. All other documents for claiming death claim are to be procured and filled up by the claimants, but death certificate it takes time. So the first thing is any list of disease published by railway or police or a state or a central government agencies, LIC will take it as a death certificate and settle the claim. In fact, the first claim was settled yesterday itself within 24 hours of the accident. And LIC has mapped the list provided by the railway authorities with our database and found out that there are 528 matching names which could be the disease. So our teams have found out we have collected the addresses from our database, and our teams have started contacting those addresses and try to find out proactively that if somebody is diseased among themselves. The other thing is that claim settlement is not a very tedious operation. It's very simple operation. KYC will be required for the claimant, and then NEFT details will be required for sending the money to the account of the claimant.
Okay, so that is very, very important that, some of those rules have been relaxed. As you mentioned, Mr. Rajkumar, LIC will be reaching out to these families as well. So, they have that kind of help. What would be the duration of actually getting the claim? What would be the average timeline for the actual claim to be processed?
Tamanna ji, as I said, the first claim was settled yesterday itself. It's only the claimant has to come out with the policy bond and the claimant statement. That certificate, as I said, we have relaxed the condition that whatever list is published by the railway authorities or police authorities or state or central agencies, it will be treated as a death certificate. So after the completion
what I mean, sir, is the sum assured will be credited immediately?
Yes. So it is credited immediately. Once we get all this information, the teams are processing and they are working overtime. Even Sunday we had worked so that the claims can be settled and paid to the account of the claimant.
That's absolutely excellent. That's excellent. At least some small relief at such a difficult and disastrous, tragic time. But we also want to talk today about the big picture. There will be a probe. A probe has already begun into what exactly happened around 7 p.m. on Friday evening that led to this triple train collision. V N Mathur is joining us now, former member of the Traffic Railway Board. Mr. Mathur, thank you so much for speaking with us. While there is a lot of talk about signalling systems and how they could have been changed or have changed, earlier reports flagging off some concerns. Can you give us a comprehensive picture today of what are the areas that need to be looked into to first of all figure whether this was a human error, this was a technical lapse, or what exactly happened?
The station where this accident occurred was an interlocked station, an electronically interlocked station. What interlocking means is the interlocking between the points and crossings and the signals. The system also verifies whether a line on which a train movement is to take place is clear and free of obstruction. And unless the points are correctly set for the route, the line is physically clear of any obstruction, these signals do not come off. It is a fail-safe system. So therefore, when a doubt has been raised and the minister himself has raised a doubt about A failure in the signaling system, it is a very, very serious issue because you are assured that 99.99% of the time, such a system will not fail. So the possibilities that could have taken place are, to my mind, threefold. One is that the system actually failed, that 0.001% chance of failure actually occurred in this particular case. The second possibility is that close to the point, without any linkage to the interlocking system, the Coromandel Express actually derailed for some cause. Either an axle broke or something else happened, and it went on to the loop line. The third is a possibility is sabotage, which is somebody interfering with the interlocking arrangement or physically interfering at the point. Now that is why apparently the government has given this case to the CBI. So these are the three possibilities in my view. And if the signaling system that has failed and which seems to be a major suspicion, and that's a very grave issue because that brings into question the entire signaling system. And a lot of money and investment over the last 2 decades has been put into installing these systems all over Indian Railways. You will recall we used to have mechanical interlocking where levers were operated and there was greater reliability on the dependence on the human being. Now, with the introduction of electronic interlocking, the possibility of a human being making a mistake gets drastically reduced. So I'm sure the inquiry will bring out what actually happened.
Can I ask you to tell us a little bit more about this signaling system?
Yeah.
From the context also of the story, we've reported that post this, the Railway Board has today instructed all 19 zones of the Indian Railways to kickstart safety drives immediately, emphasizing on super check of signaling systems. What does this mean?
Now, the signaling system consists of, one is a physical signal which has multiple aspects, green, red, yellow, double yellow, for the movement of the train, which indicates to the driver at what speed he should cross that signal. The second component is the actual physical point and crossing, which is basically a switch which diverts a train from one line to another. The signals and that points and crossing and the switches are interlinked. The third component, as I said, is a check on whether the line is physically clear or not for which the signal is being given. In this case, apparently, according to the driver, he received a green signal. The train was to go through the main line, but unfortunately and tragically, it went onto a loop line and collided with a goods train. Now, if the system had been functioning normally, this should never have happened. What the checks that the minister has ordered are, where can there be? There can be defects in the points and crossings, in the setting of the point. Whether they synchronize well with the signal. So a number of tests can be done on that. These are basically, these are chips and electronic circuits which operate the system, which carry out these various checks to ensure that safety is ensured, and possibly some checks can be carried out on the actual equipment and the circuitry, and whether there was anything that went wrong with a particular electronic card or chip or whatever.
Absolutely.
So I think these checks will now be carried out in all over Indian Railways. This is something which should never have happened.
No doubt about that. And considering this is an upgraded system, it definitely needs a proper probe to understand exactly what happened. Thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss what steps ahead after a tragedy.